Steve Cockton and Falcher Ashkody Cúilín Media. Welcome back to another weekend preview show here on Cúilín Media, and I'm delighted to announce we have a full house. Aaron has arrived just in time. We're ready to go. Aaron, I'll jump straight to you first. How are you feeling, man?
Yeah, yeah, good stuff, lads. Looking forward to the weekend's games. All good, all good. Yeah, some big action happening this weekend. Yeah, like I think the relegation promotion picture will be a lot more clear this weekend in terms of who will be promoted, relegated. Some big games obviously involving both our own county, Roscommon away. Be very difficult. Kind of have to win really if we've any chance of staying up. We have to win the game, and obviously in the hurling playing Antrim as well. It's a big match in terms of promotion. So yeah, good to see you lads, and looking forward to cracking into it.
Was that by any chance a tactic? You arrived just in time for us going live, missed a little, missed the chat backstage. But yeah, we've a lot of comments flying in here. We love to see it. Peter leading the charge again as always. Matthew, I'll throw these ones to you next. There's a lot of talk, a lot of questions you've been asked twice now to talk about the Congress, and that's in the last 5 minutes we've been asked to talk about it. I'm sure there's comments and stuff talking about it too. The motions being pushed in hurling, and the main one we're being asked to discuss is the descent rule. So basically, if you're not familiar with it, what it is that there will be a 30-meter, this is what's being proposed, is a 30-meter advancement to a free for player descent. So what we were saying off air is that means that like a foul on the cornerback would all of a sudden become scoreable if there was descent. Now I know that myself and yourself, especially even in the days before Cúilín Media, we always slammed any players interfering with the referee or talking back to the referee or anything like that. Is this how to combat it?
Well, I wouldn't know much about it, to be fair. Like, I haven't really read too much on Congress this week. I'm obviously busy enough, to be honest. But yeah, it does seem like it's the same as the football rule, and it just needs to be probably ironed out a bit better than that. We see in the football all the time, we get these decisions where a player is handed the ball back. They're doing what they're told, basically, but they still get pulled up for 50 meters or whatever. That has to be policed a lot better, I think, if this rule is to go through, from what I'm gathering anyway. So yeah, I think that probably just needs to be ironed out in many ways. But other than that, I don't see much of a problem with it. If it is policed by referees in a good way, then I don't see why not. It can be added, but you don't need to put too much pressure on referees either. But yeah, it's a difficult one to comprehend.
Absolutely, Aaron. And Peter mentioning here as well the announcement of Dubs getting a new training centre, Spawell Centre of Excellence, 4 pitches, 500-seater stand, terrace capacity for 510 dressing rooms, hurling wall, indoor gym, the lot. Training used to be always done at DCU. That is true. The Abbottstown and DCU used to be always the spots for Jim Gavin's team. To be honest, I would have probably rather that money be put into building Parnell Park up, if possible, like getting more of a capacity into Parnell Park for the league games and everything like that, so that we can seriously have a discussion about moving our league games into Parnell Park. But still a positive. Connor McGrath here saying quality GA content. Thank lads. No problem, Connor. Thank you for being with us here for this one. We've comments already coming in about the games. Fancy Armagh to beat Mayo, says Tom McGahan. Well, their backs are against the wall, so are Dublin's. We'll get to that in a second. At A2 here saying, all right, gents. Peter with a direct question for you. Liam says, Liam, your assessment of Pádraig Horan's Laker Gale, a great profile, great days for the faithful county.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. Some of the quotes that came out from it were absolutely fantastic. What did he say? I was no softie back in the day, and he said he laughed at a teacher one day because they fell on his collarbone or something. Just like the most ridiculous comments to think of. Or what did he say? He met his wife. My life was over or something like that. Just the most ridiculous comments. But no, an absolute gent. I've had the pleasure of meeting him on a few occasions at a couple of matches, and yeah, look, he was one hardy whore, I could tell you that. And yeah, no, he brought a lot of great days. Ironically, in the package as well, would you believe it, when they're showing bits of when we won our first title in 1980 in the Leinster, you can actually see my grandfather going in to shake his hand. So that was a nice moment to see. Yeah, and he hasn't changed in 46 years. So yeah, no, and I can see what my future is. His hairline was receding then. I think mine's going to recede in the next couple of years. But no, it was a great episode. The Laker Gale so far, I've really enjoyed every single one of them, and I know Neil McManus is having his tonight, and I'm thoroughly looking forward to that one as well once we're finished here. But yeah, no, I thought it was excellent, really well done. Was a great man for Offaly, won All Ireland as a manager with Burr as well, and the little dance at the end he had with him and his wife was really nice to see as well. So yeah, Pádraig Horan's absolute legend of Offaly hurling, and yeah, no, great episode.
Yeah, I have to say, like, Leclerc is just box office every time, isn't it? Like, and then on top of that, like, just from an Offaly perspective, I loved Michael Bond's one last year. I loved that bit of archival footage. I don't know if you've seen it, lads, you know, where Micheál and Muir Hertig's doing that compilation package where it's like when the Offaly team heard, they didn't know who he was, and he goes, Micheál and Muir Hertig's voice, his name was Bond, Michael Bond, and all this. Like, it's the maddest little bit of footage, but I don't know how they managed to still have it. It's a brilliant piece of footage. But anyway, enough chit chat. Let's dive straight into the games. We've got a lot to get through. 4 codes and all divisions in action, and we're going to dive straight in. Aaron, unfortunately, we're in this position, but it is what it is. Our backs are against the wall. Roscommon against Dublin. Sunday at 2 p.m. we go away to Dr. Hyde Park. I saw your tweet, Aaron. It was really, really good. It put it into perspective how golden an opportunity this is for Roscommon to finally beat the Dubs. But for those who haven't seen the tweet, if you want to just spell it out again about how significant a win could be for the Rossies this weekend, even as well, how big Dublin need this win.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, Dublin's record against Roscommon is really strong over the last 15, 20 years or so. Like, the last time we lost to Roscommon was in 2002. That was in a league game. We're actually unbeaten against them in our last 12 games. Now, obviously, there's a lot happened between then. Like, that was Dublin's golden era. Roscommon were obviously floating between Division 1 and Division 2. I think at one point, even down the low end of Division 2 from what I remember. And obviously, there's been a lot of different teams and everything else. But look, things have changed. You know, I mean, a lot of teams have broken their duck versus Dublin in the last 4 or 5 years. Meath have done it. Kildare did it in the league. Armagh have done it a couple of times. Galway did it. So Roscommon will see this as their opportunity to go and beat Dublin. And realistically speaking, at home in the Hyde, with the way that they're playing as well, with the football that they're playing, the form of Dara Craig and German Murtha. Apparently, I've seen as well the Bridges lads are going to be back for this game as well. Whether they're going to be coming off the bench or starting, I would imagine they'll be coming off the bench, because I think it would be harsh dropping any lads to bring in, a Ben O'Carroll or Rory Fallon or something of that nature. And then you combine it with Dublin's injuries as well. Like, I think Con is going to be missing for this game. I don't think Cormac Costello is going to be there. I think Con Basquel isn't going to be there either. Like, we're missing a lot of heavy hitters and a lot of big players. And I think it's going to be very, very tough from a Dublin perspective. Like, you're looking at Paddy Small to step up. You're looking at Sean Bugler to kind of show the form that he showed last season. But it's going to be very tough from a Dublin perspective.
Certainly, well, we've got plenty of comments flying in about this game. And guys, if you are new to the show, get involved. Let us know your predictions, what way you think every game is going to go as we discuss it. We're getting that sentiment that it's going to be a tough day for the Dubs. Peter here saying another tough assignment for the Dubs. Rossies in flying form. Dubs look shot confidence-wise. John Miller with a question for you, Aaron. Will Aaron make a visit to the Down the Hatch pub after the game? Gavin, I'd love to get your take on this. Gavin O'Reilly saying missed out on the win in 2002 by a few months. I have never seen us beat Dublin, so we have to at home, especially if Dublin don't have Con. I think like here we've Rossies by 6, Rossies by 2. Don't see a world where Dublin win. Rossies flying at the moment. Rossies by 2. Roscommon won't get a better chance to break their Dublin voodoo as well put, Mikey. I think like definitely Con isn't right. If Ger took him off at halftime against Kerry when we really, really needed him, something's up. And Costello hasn't featured yet, and Basquel hasn't featured yet, to the point where if they're brought back in now, will they hit the ground running? That's another thing. So it's shaping up to be a very, very difficult game. And with an eye on the clock and how many games we have to get through, I will push you, Aaron, for a bit of a prediction now. What do we think?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Roscommon. I hope I'm wrong. And I hope this is one of them predictions that we can all laugh at on Sunday evening, and how wrong was I and everything else. But no, I think Roscommon will do it. Look, I think it'll be a point. I have a funny feeling Roscommon will start very strong. they'll be fast out of the blocks. Obviously, the weather, we'll have to see what happens with the weather, because we know that seems to influence a lot of the games in this kind of part of the country. I think Dublin might reel Roscommon in a little bit towards the end of the game. I think we might come a little bit close towards the end of it, but I'm going to go with a 1-point win for the Rossies. And just answering John's question as well, unfortunately, I won't be at the game. I was meant to be getting a lift down, but unfortunately, I won't be going anymore. So we'll have to watch it at home. But I don't know, from a Dublin perspective, if I am out Saturday night as well, so I'll probably be a little bit worse for weather. So I don't know if it would actually be a good thing if I did go.
Watching the game through my fingers. I don't know. I'm nervous about it because I remember as well, am I correct in saying there could have been a game at the Hyde for us in the meantime, but I remember that there was a game at the Hyde in 2019, I want to say, in the league, and Darren Gavin was man of the match, and we just about got out with the win. Like, we just about, and that was Jim Gavin, 5 in a row chasing Dublin. So it's a very, very difficult place to go. You have to give respect to the form that Roscommon are in. You have to look at the sheet and go, Roscommon are absolutely playing some cracking stuff. Diarmuid Murtagh, Dara Craig are shooting the lights out up top. Enda Smith again looks as good as ever. Roscommon should win. Based off form, they should win. But I wouldn't write us off. I think people saying we're going to get annihilated. I don't think that's going to happen. But I do think we probably will lose by about 5 or 6 points, I'd say, because Roscommon are well capable of kicking 2-pointers, and that will put us right up against the wall. Quick question for you, Matthew, before we move on to the next game. Number 1, do you agree with me and Aaron's prediction? And then this question from Connor. Big if Cork, Derry and Meath all finish on 12 points, does it come down to score difference?
The answer to question 1, Roscommon 116, Dublin 16 points. And the answer to question 2, it goes down to score difference if 3 teams are level on the same number of points. If only 2 teams are level on the same number of points, it goes down to head-to-head. Okay,
very good stuff. We've got a lot firing in here. Mikey saying Rossi by 2. Vala giving his predictions: Donegal, Dublin, Mayo and Armagh as a draw, and then Kerry to win that last game. Peter saying mathematically, if Dubs lose, are they in serious trapdoor trouble? Absolutely. We're in big trouble if we lose this game. So I'm not trying to think. Gavin here saying exactly, we were good in 19. We're not going to Croke Park for the millionth time. The Hyde could be the difference. Exactly. Yeah, because Croke Park just changed the game. The Hyde is much more intense atmosphere and everything like that. It's a much more difficult trip for the Dubs. So yeah, I think fairly unanimous, is it, Liam?
Yeah, I'm gonna back Roscommon to win it by maybe something like 118 to 114 or something like that, just given Dublin's low scoring efficiency so far in the league campaign as well. And I mean, if that is true that Con's out this weekend, then I can't see that necessarily changing.
Yeah, I think it's probably fair enough, and it's more out of, you have to give the respect to Roscommon, what they've done over their last 3 games. You have to base it off what's happening right now, and right now Roscommon probably are a bit ahead of Dublin in terms of where they're at right now in this moment. Anyway, we're going to move on to the next game, and if Dublin don't go down in that second place, one of the teams that has their back up against the wall is Armagh. They make an equally very tough trip away this weekend. Sunday at 1:15 p.m. they go away to McHale Park to take on Mayo, who annihilated Monaghan last week. Liam, I'll throw this one to you. This one is a hell of an assignment for McGeeney's men. When with their backs against the wall, can they dig themselves out of this one?
Funny thing is, they absolutely can, but they're going to have to be a lot sharper and a lot better than they have been in the last 2 games. Like even hearing our good friend, nice. Even hearing what our friend Cúilín, the football genius, has been saying last weekend, like, they're just not taking a lot of goal scoring opportunities at the moment. And if they're going to have to start getting that right sooner rather than later, especially with a tough Ulster Championship campaign to come. But yeah, this is a very difficult assignment for them this weekend. Like, if you had said to me at the start of the league campaign, pinpointing this game, who wins this, I would have said Armagh 100%, even by like 7 or 8 points. But similarly with Roscommon Dublin, just given how the last couple of weeks have gone, and especially after that. Now, look, Armagh put up 127 past Monaghan, so it's hard to know how much you can write on Mayo putting 230 past Monaghan last weekend. But Mayo just looked really, really saucy, especially in the forward line last week against Monaghan. And I mean, look, everybody talks about Kobe, and that's absolutely understandable. Like, he was absolutely sensational coming off the bench, and that goal he took, I mean, Jesus, for a young fella, he's some right foot, I'll give him that. But there was other players that stepped up as well. What's impressed me more is the way Mayo are now taking 2-pointers, because it was something that we were really, upset about last year, was how many times Mayo had chances to kick over 2-pointers and they didn't. They were maybe recycling the ball out, or they're nearly afraid to take them on. I never minded them maybe missing them, but they were never taking them on. Whereas last weekend, I mean, nearly every score that was shown on the TG Cahir or the RT highlights were 2-pointers. Do you know what I mean? And that's exactly what you want from Mayo. They have to be building this up as they go towards the Connacht Championship and the All-Ireland Series. I mean, Jordan Flynn for me is a terrific player, and the fact that he's now kicking 2-pointers is good to see. Obviously, Ryan O'Donoghue was probably the only one last year we pinpointed doing that. You've Dara Byrne, who I do really like as a corner forward as well. Like, it's not just Kobe that, look, whether he starts this weekend or not, or comes off the bench, he's not the only one that Armagh are going to have to be wary of this weekend. There's a lot of forwards that are right on form, bang on form at the moment for Mayo. So they're going to have to try and stop some of those threats. I mean, Fergal Boland got 5 points last weekend. Like, how do you stop him? Aidan O'Shea, for me, over the last 12 months, has probably been playing the best football of his career, arguably, even in a different type of role that he's playing. He's even getting more scores as well. So, look, Armagh definitely have a chance. I'm not going to say they won't, because at the end of the day, as much as they were poor against Donegal, they still only lost by 4 points. Do you know what I mean? As much as they were poor against Roscommon, what was it, 3 points in the end, was it? Off the top of my head. It was only, 1 point against Galway. They're not losing by large amounts. It's just their performance levels aren't up to the level that you'd hope for. But I just think Mayo at the moment are riding a big wave, and with the way Andy Moran has them playing, and with the game being played in Mayo as well, I can't see anything but a win for the Connacht side. I think they might win it by maybe 5 points, something like a 223 to. I'm trying to think of the maths in my head now. 220. My maths is gone. You know what I mean? I was good at maths in school, I swear. But no, I could see them winning this game by about 5-6 points. I think this could be another tough result for Armagh, and it could start really worrying them from the perspective of relegation.
Any disagreements, lads? Anyone fancy a draw or an Armagh win here?
I'd go for a draw.
Yeah.
Like I just think it's an interesting one with Armagh. Like, they are scoring a lot, even though they've been missing a lot of chances. Like, their chance creation's been insane. Like, they're creating so much goal chances, points. I think at some point it will click for them. You still have to give credit to Mayo though. Like, Mayo are in flying form themselves, and yeah, like, I think this could be game of the weekend. Like, I think this is going to be like a mad back and forth. I think there'll be a couple of goals, there'll be late drama, there might be a big point swing at some point in the game as well. So yeah, I'm going to back the draw.
I think this is like, if you want chaos in a game over the last 5 years, the two of these in a game, I think that absolutely is what we need. Matthew, which way are you tipping?
I'm going to say Mayo 217, Armagh 23 points, draw.
Draw, very good. Do you know, like, it is that type of game where I could see a draw. I'll be interested to see how much of a part Kobe plays in this game. Does he come in? Does he start? Because I did see it was talked about on the GA Plus, the View show, which is really, really good. Was like, Kobe's going to have a game then where someone's going to go on to him, like a wily, who's seen it all, like a defender, like a Kieran Duffy or something was on David Clifford in 2018. Like, there's someone that just goes on to him that's just a hard-nosed defender. That was a nice game. Now, don't get me wrong, Kobe was amazing, but that was a nice game to come into. This one against Armagh, if he gets someone like Forker marking him, or someone like, I don't know, if Aaron McKay was back, I know he's not going to be, but that wouldn't be fun to have someone like McKay marking you, or Barry McCambridge or something like that. But it'll be interesting to see how much they use him, how much they utilize him in this game. I think he'll come in at a similar stage that he did in the Monaghan game. Maybe 20 minutes left in the game to try and kick Mayo for home. Do you know what? I'm actually fancying Armagh. Genuinely backs against the wall, and the stats in terms of how many shots they've been taking, they haven't been shy. The big problem, Aaron, you'd agree with Dublin, was we weren't shooting at all, and like, we were so predictable going forward. Armagh have been misfiring in terms of how many shots they've been taking, but the point is they're creating the chances. And I believe that Mayo, while yes, they're still looking good under Andy Moran, and I've picked them to finish second, I can just see like them having a little bit of a dip after having it all their own way against Monaghan last week. They know they're safe now. Armagh know they're not safe. And that press of like the iron at your back, like I think I could see Armagh coming out swinging here. And I'm going to go for Armagh to shade it by 2 points narrowly. But yeah, we've a lot of opinions flying in. So John says, 2 sitting on the fence. Gavin said, would you be concerned about how open Mayo were against Monaghan? Well, Monaghan didn't punish them. That, like, again, that's another thing to bring into this game. Liam here saying Armagh most overhyped team in the country, not one proper superstar in this team, pulling no punches, Liam. And Tom here saying Armagh have been unlucky-ish not to have more points, but I think home advantage is worth more now than ever to this current team. And Deirdre here saying I think Colby might come back after a few years. There's a lot of rumours. I hope he stays. Genuinely, like, I hope he does. I think he's an absolute joy to watch. But anyway, we'll move on to the next game. And Matthew, I'll give this one to you. This one's an interesting clash. Donegal hosting Galway in Ballyshannon. Galway, another team that are starting to look over their shoulder a little bit of relegation. And they also have, I think it's fair to say, probably the hardest assignment out the bunch, going away to the 100% record Donegal Sunday at 1:15 p.m. in Ballyshannon. How do you see this one go?
Well, the fact it's on a Ballyshannon, you can't see anything other but the Donegal win, to be honest. Conor O'Donnell's in brilliant form at the moment. Obviously, you have Gavin Mulroney in goal there as well. Michael Langan, like, Donegal are really exciting this year, and they look like serious All-Ireland contenders. Not going to lie. Galway, it's very inconsistent from them. Obviously, they weren't good against for the majority of the Kerry and Armagh games, but they got a point. They were brilliant for the majority of the Roscommon game, and they let a lead slip. So it's kind of difficult to see where Galway are at this present moment in time. Will it be the first start for Paul Conroy this year? He came on against Roscommon. Shane Walsh, Damon Comer, I don't think they're going to be involved. Obviously, you have newer guns, if you like Liam O'Connell and Shane McGrath. But yeah, I'd say Donegal should win, and they should win comfortably enough. I'd say I think Donegal will win this probably 220 to 18 points. Yeah, I think Galway, they will be looking over their shoulder in terms of relegation. I think Donegal are one-way ticket to Croke Park for a league final. It's interesting, actually, Donegal have only been in one league final, I think, in their entire history, and that was 2007. They obviously won that game, but they'll be dying to get to a league final, because like that's a low number of leagues for a side like Donegal, the quality of players that they do have. And of course, I'd imagine, contrary to what Jim McGuinness was saying last year about the league, Donegal wants a national trophy on the board. So I would imagine they'll be all running for this just to get to that league final, have that safety in it, and get there. I think they'll win this, and they'll win it by 8.
It's very interesting. A great question here. I'll throw it back to you, Matthew. Has Gavin Mulroney overtaken Sean Patton in goal?
Not yet. Like, Patton is proven in terms of football as I know, but Mulroney definitely close. But I think if Donegal were to get to a league final and Mulroney plays, and if he excels in that final, then questions might be started to ask, because that's Croke Park. It's as big as you can get, really, at a big stage of a national final. So we'll see.
Yeah, we've nobody really back in Galway here. As Gavin said, I'd fancy Donegal, but Galway have a good record against them, is the thing. It is difficult to say that, it's very difficult to say that Galway are going to win this. The only question I'd have is, will Donegal take their foot off the gas somewhat? And will Galway put the foot down on the gas, knowing that they need a win? And if they can go away to Donegal and beat them, as people are pointing out, they actually do have a decent record against Donegal. They beat them in the All-Ireland semi-final in 2024. They're not afraid of them. It's just going up there. Yeah, I think you'd be silly to not tip Donegal. Not silly. Silly's way too harsh a word, but I think you'd have to give Donegal the respect of tipping them as the favourites. Any disagreements, lads?
No.
Donegal by 1.
Yeah, I'd say, I'm going to say Donegal by 2. Galway to give them a good fight, but I think they will probably go down in this one. And then we move on to the final game in Division 1's Round 5. Kerry hosting Monaghan Sunday at 1:15 p.m. in Fitzgerald Stadium. Aaron, I think this one again has a clear favourite. Monaghan bet out the gate by Mayo on their own home patch last weekend. Surely going down to Kerry is too much of an ask.
Yeah, you'd have to say so. Like, it maybe might be the most Monaghan thing ever to just magically turn it on for this game and put in a big performance but still lose. But no, like I do think it'll be fairly comfortable enough from a Kerry perspective. Like, you saw Paddy Clifford coming off the bench the last day. Like, he might start in this game, I'd imagine, having come off the bench the last day versus Dublin. It will be interesting to see if Kerry play David Clifford and play like their main players, because I feel like this is a game they could probably rest and rotate a little bit and still win quite comfortably. But yeah, when you look at what Monaghan are conceding as well, like, they're conceding huge numbers all across the pitch. Like, you feel like if Kerry are at even 80 to 90% of their levels, they could win this by 15 to 20 points the way the Monaghan are playing at the moment. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, because I do think Kerry probably will rotate a little bit, and I don't think Kerry will be at 80 to 90% of their levels even. And I do think Monaghan have to show at least something. Like, if you're going to go down, fair enough, but you've got to show something going into the Ulster Championship. I don't know who they're actually playing in Ulster, but like, they could get caught against a team down in Division 2 or 3 if they're not careful here. Well, maybe not actually the way Fermanagh are going, but like when you look at, like, Monaghan are struggling hugely, and even going into like the group stages, like they could or well, actually, it's not the group stages this year, is it? I think it's the other. No. Is it the other format? And you lads know?
I'm grabbing up who they're playing. So Monaghan are playing Cavan in the quarterfinals, and then if they win that game, they go in to play against the winners of Derry or Antrim.
Exactly, and even though Cavan are struggling at the moment, like, you'd probably nearly fancy them, to be honest, the way Monaghan are going. So yeah, no, I think it'll be a comfortable enough win for Kerry.
Yeah, the comments are certainly echoing that sentiment. Like, Mike, you hear saying Monaghan at their best and Kerry at their worst might make a game. Kerry by 13, Monaghan look over and out. Bannigan gone before Champo, says Peter. Gavin as well saying Cavan in the quarterfinal at Clonus, who they have a bad record against. Connor here saying Monaghan to get annihilated, 223 to 116. It is right. It's like, it's not the fact they're losing, it's the way they're losing. And then going into the championship this season, facing off against Cavan, local rivals who have a good record against them, you would right now tip it towards Cavan to win that game. It's interesting, and it is a similar case, Aaron. You mentioned it on the pod last week that so far it's going kind of similar to Vinnie Corey's second year, where that kind of feel-good factor of the first year is slightly fading, and we're seeing bad results. So yeah, I can't see anything other than a Kerry winning this one. Let's say a prayer for Monaghan. Kilcuddy here saying starting to get worried about the Cavan game. Need a performance, but more likely home to Galway in the next round is where it will come. Peter here saying Cavan were good against us the last day. To be fair, Cavan have been good in this league campaign, but they've gone very similar. And it was ironic that Dermot McCabe is in charge, because last year Westmeath looked great in every game and went down. So we were kind of saying that it was going a similar way, but the win over to Kildare obviously arrested that tide. But yeah, unanimous, lads, Kerry to beat Monaghan.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll move on to Division 2 then. And Matthew, you're going to this one. Are you nervous yet? Derry versus Cork, Sunday at 1 p.m. in Celtic Park. I think it's fair to say, I know it's not mathematically nailed on, but if you win this one, you're very much nearly there anyway for promotion up to Division 1. Long awaited as well. How are you feeling heading into this clash?
Yeah, a small bit nervous, to be fair, because like when you look at the last few games that we do have, obviously Kildare and Tyrone, the form they are on at this present moment. Well, to be honest, I think we'd beat Kildare, whatever form they're in. We're at home in Parky Keeve or Parky Rim, wherever that game may be. Tyrone, the form they're in, you'd fancy us to beat us, but I think this is a massive game for us in terms of promotion because of what all of the comments mentioned there and scoring difference. Because if three sides are level on 10 points, which could be possible, or 12 points or whatever as well, then yeah, it'll go down to score difference. And I don't want to be a bird of bad news to Liam here, but Meath are playing Offaly in one of their final 3 games. And the thing is, Meath could put up a score on Offaly, let's be honest, with the way things are going at this present moment in time. We've played Offaly already, so we have to just deal with the score that we do have at this present moment in time. So we probably, in terms of promotion, we need to either win this game or lose this game against Derry and Hockey Kildare in round 6. Either or. I don't see us Hockey and Kildare, to be honest. Kildare are a very strong, compact team. So this is a huge game in more ways than one. Obviously, the perception could have changed. So obviously, Kildare are playing Meath on the Saturday. That could all change. But if we do win this game, we'd only need a point out of our last 2 games against Tyrone and Kildare to be mathematically there. So, like, I think if we do beat Derry, I think we are there in all fairness. But this is going to be a very, very tight game. But this is the most confident Cork have been in a long, long time, I would say. 4 wins in a row in the National Football League. 5 victories in a row if you include the Kerry McGrath Cup win, which was a massive win in Fitzgerald Stadium as well. If you even include the last year, that's 6 league wins in a row. We plan to make it 7 this weekend. Like, that's an incredible record. And John and his players deserve a lot of credit for that. The likes of Luke Fahey, the likes of Mark Cronin have really excelled in this league campaign. The worry is, though, Derry are going pretty well too. After the loss against Meath, they've recovered really well, in fairness to them. Noel Loughlin's performing well, Matthew Downey as well. Conor Glass is going to come back into contention as well. That's another thing. Conor Glass is coming back into the Derry team while Ian Maguire's out of her team. That's a big swing, I would say. Obviously, Colin O'Callaghan and Sean Walsh, should be a lot of pressure on them to deliver. Look, I've been confident about this Cork team from the very start, as you know. I'm going to keep that confidence going. I think we'll win it by a point again. I just feel like the confidence is in the waters. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to say Cork will win this game. I'm going to go 118 to 117. It's going to be tight, but I think Cork might get the job done again this weekend.
I've a bit of a hot take about that. I think that if you win this, I think it's easily the most impressive win out the bunch that you've had so far. Because I get that Meath are in sensational form and everything like that, but you had them at home. Going away to Derry and beating them would be really, really impressive, especially now, as you mentioned, that Derry have kind of woken up. Connor, with a direct question for you that's really, really good. Unbeaten Cork being written off by the bookies this week. Thoughts? And like, my thoughts are, again, I don't know how, but Cork have been kind of continuously underestimated kind of since since Division 3. Even as good as Cork have been, I feel like they've always been underestimated in Division 2.
Yeah, man, to be fair, I think in the first 5 rounds, we've only been clear favourites for 1 game, and that was the Offaly game. The rest of it, we were under, like a lot of people, including E3, I will add to E3, fancied Loud to beat us in round 2. Seamus predicted me to beat us in round 4. Aaron predicted we win against Cavan as well. So we have been underdogs to some people in the last few games, but I think they relish under this underdogs tag, to be fair, because like players that aren't expected to stand up. The likes of Mark Cronin, the likes of Chris Oak, Luke Fahey in defence as well, Sean Meehan, and you're expecting the lads like Sherlock or any of them to step up and perform a madness or something. But yeah, it's I could see why we're written off because of our consistency issues and things like that over the last few seasons. Weirdly enough, I think we turned the corner last year in terms of consistency. Like we only lost 1 game, which we really should have been winning, and that was down in Newry. The rest of us, I thought we were pretty consistent throughout the whole season. So yeah, maybe that tag was a bit unfair considering, like, okay, you could write us off considering the inconsistencies from 2024 backwards, but from 2025 onwards, I think we have fixed that issue. We've ironed it out. But yeah, I could see why we'd be backed against, to be fair, because Derry are in good form, number 1, and number 2, it's on in Celtic Park. It's a long journey, albeit the players will stay overnight on Saturday, which is obviously the correct thing to do. But yeah, it's going to be a difficult game. But let's not forget, I know you were saying, Seamus, about Cork, this being Cork's most impressive win if they get it. For Derry as well, like, okay, the last 3 games, the Tyrone game was impressive, but the other 2 wins, like, it is difficult enough to see were they impressive things like that, considering Kildare and Offaly both came up for Division 3. So there might be a question mark.
Off the pace.
Possibly, yeah. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Absolutely. Well, Mikey here saying Matthew taking names of everyone who doubted Cork. I mean, just ask Joe Brolly. But you gave me flashbacks, Matthew. Do you know that clip of Nigel Farage where he's like, "You all laughed at me. You're not laughing now." Especially if you go up. And you did call it right from the beginning in the in-studio episode. So fair play on that one. And Mikey here saying, if Cork win this, they go into the conversation for the All-Ireland. Predictions time, lads. It's time to put the money where your mouth is and call it. Matthew's gone with Cork to shade it. I'm gonna go for a draw. I think it's gonna be a dramatic. I think someone's getting a dramatic equaliser. I think you got Shane McGuigan and Conor Glass, well capable of kicking 2 pointers on one side. Sherlock and Mark Cronin, well capable of kicking them on the other side. I can see a late equaliser, little scuffle of full time, and then a draw. What are we thinking?
I'm going to draw as well. I could see it being something like Derry 21 points, Cork 3-12. I could see like Derry maybe holding a lead at halftime, but Cork getting like 2 quick fire goals. Like if there's one thing I'm really impressed with when I saw Cork was they know how to score a goal. They work the ball really well in getting goals. Like I'm impressed with Chris Oak-Jones. He's an absolute goal machine. Mark Cronin has been a player I've been very impressed with. Like he was the player, other than maybe O'Callaghan in midfield, he was the player I was most impressed with when he faced us in Tullamore. I'll admit that. Like he's very, very consistent. And I agree, Seamus. I could see Derry being like, you know, getting like a late 2-pointer, but then Cork going down the other end and just forcing the ball over the line and getting a goal, which I think that would still be an equally as impressive result, because at the end of the day, I mean, I feel sorry for poor Matthew traveling all the way up to Derry from Cork. It was long for me last weekend, never mind for yourself, but like going away to Derry and getting a draw, I think would still be a very impressive result. Like you still keep your unbeaten run, you go into the last 2 games still fairly confident that you can get results. Conor Glass being back is big, but I will say I was impressed with the midfield of Brendan Rodgers and Jack Doherty last weekend, albeit it was going up against, look, I'm not afraid to admit it, a weak enough Offaly side, but I was still very impressed with them. If you can stop them from getting 2-pointers, you'll be going a very, very long way and affording them space to sort of kick them, to be honest with you. I know, like you said, as Ian Maguire, you said, is out this weekend. I know that is a big, big miss, but I think if you can sort of win the midfield battle and stop them from kicking a bunch of 2-pointers, then I think you can go a long way to winning this game. But I'm gonna stick with a draw.
We're not at delusional time yet, but I heard you say if they can stop them kicking a butt. But we're at that stage. We're gonna move on to the next game after we get your prediction, Aaron. What are you thinking?
Yeah, well, I suppose I'll continue on my trend of writing Cork off, and I'll write them off for this game as well. And I'll go for Derry by a point. Look, to be fair, after this game, I do promise Matthew I will start back in Cork, and I do still think you will get promoted. To be fair, even with losing this game, I'm going to go with Derry by a point. Like I think it'll be very, very close. To be honest with you, I do think Derry are scoring a lot of goals. Like they scored 3 versus Kildare, 2 last week versus Offaly. Cork have been conceding a couple of goals as well. So I just fancy goals to be the difference. And to be fair as well, I think not having Ian Maguire and having Conor Glass back, like that's a big, big difference in the middle. And as well, going away to Derry, like it is a very, very tough place to go to and a tough away game, especially in the form of Derry. So I'd go Derry 315, Cork 120.
Absolutely, it's a good pick. But we're going to move on now to Division 2's round 5 clash between Tyrone and Offaly. And Liam, I'm going to throw this one up to you. We have a lot of comments coming in about why this game is being shown. A lot of people saying BBC have the choice to show the Derry game, obviously the key clash against Cork, potentially to decide who goes up, or the Armagh game, crucial clash to see if they stay up in Division 1. They're going away to Mayo. They're showing this game between Tyrone and Offaly Sunday at 6 p.m. in Healy Park. Look, it's a crucial clash for both sides. There's no question. Whoever loses this is in serious, serious danger of going down. Like if Offaly can go away to Healy Park and beat Tyrone, then you better believe Tyrone are in big trouble. But surely this is a game that you have to tip Tyrone. Like just with the injuries that Offaly have, the players out. What are you thinking?
And if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. It's not happening. Look, I want to be optimistic, and I do like these lads, but we're just not beating Tyrone on Saturday. Like, it's great that it's being shown because it means I can watch it now. Because I was meant to be going to this game, I can't now just with family reasons. But look, it's going to be another tough evening. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, last weekend, Jesus, if it was 219 to 16 points, I'd take that right now. That'd be a great scoreline for us, to be honest. Look, after watching them in Derry
missing Derek Hannivan though.
Yeah.
Derek Hannivan.
Yeah, but Derry were missing Conor Glass last weekend, and that didn't make a difference. Yeah. So, look, it's going to be, you can kind of already kind of predict what the Offaly team is going to be. Probably similar enough to what was played last weekend, played against Cork, played against Kildare. Like, look, Tyrone are not in the best run of form at the moment. There's no question about that. But we're just not at that level right now. Look, everyone has injuries and everything like that. But just the players that we do have out, the players that have come in to replace them just aren't at that level at the moment. You know, and look, it's not their fault. A lot of them are kind of being hung out to dry as well. And it's tough on them because they're making a big leap, even from playing, say, club football in Offaly to playing against a team that were All-Ireland semi-finalists last year. So, look, I'll support them for the 70 minutes, 100%. But look, Tyrone will win this game realistically. Look, they'll probably win it very comfortably. I'm going to support them 100%, and I always will. And I am sort of devastated I can't go up to it. It would have been nice to go up there, but look, as long as they put up a fight, like I genuinely mean, as long as they put up a bit of a fight, then I am reasonably happy, just because it's been a very tough and draining campaign for them at the moment. But look, Tyrone should realistically win this game. And look, if I'm speaking from a neutral perspective, I think now showing Tyrone Offaly over even the Derry Cork game or the Armagh game is a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, I think anybody who's watched the show once, and you lads are sick to death to hear me say it, but for anyone new, my stance on it is there absolutely should be a ladder in terms of like priority. So like whenever RTE have first dibs on the Saturday games, any game that they're not showing immediately gets offered to the next one up on the ladder. So if they say we don't want to show this one, we're showing this one, then game number 2 gets offered to TG Cahir if they want to put it on. If TG Cahir can't put it on, then it gets offered to Clubber, or it gets offered to Stream Sport, or it gets offered to whoever, but the game gets shown. And in the worst case scenario, it's streamed live on YouTube, just like Dublin GAA have done with the club championships for years. Every county ground should be set up with it. The goal of the GAA should be to get every single game broadcast, especially at an inter-county level. And in the leagues, when it's crucial ties like Mayo versus Armagh, it absolutely should be shown. And from a business perspective, they're missing out on a lot of viewership, a lot of revenue in terms of getting the games on telly as well. Like I think just having that safety net there, all the broadcasters are brilliant that we have on board, but just getting more people around so all the games can be shown would be what I would be hoping for. We have more people saying Cúilín Media, the Cúilín Empire shall conquer all. Well, if you want biased commentary, maybe we should get a game between, I don't know, Dublin and Cork, or Dublin and Offaly, or Offaly and Cork, and that would be fireworks then in the commentary booth. So it would be like the kickoff back in the day.
I reckon Offaly Dublin on the 18th of April would be a great start.
Do you know what? We should do a live watch along for that. That should be something. A live watch along for that might be good crack if we're around. Now, that's not nailed in, but that could be a good shout if we're all free. But yeah, that's my take on it. Just all the broadcasters are brilliant in terms of when they're showing the games, but having that safety net there, getting Clubber involved, getting Stream Sport involved, and showing the leagues would be the way I'd want to go. And getting all the counties set up with their YouTube channels, broadcasting live from the grounds, just like Dublin did with the club championships. I think that would benefit the GAA massively. And I get that there's strains on it, and I get that you need a lot of muscle behind it, but when you see how many games club are showing the club championship, how many counties they're at, I would think that getting them on board would be brilliant. But yeah, we'll I have in here saying Aaron and Matthews Cork Dubs watch along was fun back in 2023. That was a brilliant video, lads. Especially the shot at the end with Brian Hurley smacking the post. That was one of the funniest clips I've seen. But yeah, we'll jump on to the next game, and I will throw this one over to yourself, Matthew. One of your promotion rivals, Meath, go away to Kildare Saturday at 7 p.m. in St. Conleth's Park in Newbridge. What are you thinking of this one? Will you have one eye on how this game is going on Saturday?
We'll have to, I suppose. Yeah, I feel like this is could be a banana skin again for me, because Kildare most certainly will be up for it. They're up against their Leinster rivals. It's in St. Conleth's Park in Newbridge. They'll definitely be up for it. And considering the performance against Cavan last time out, they'll be desperate to get a result on the board, and they are. Dare I say it with Kildare? A lot of people are talking about Tyrone and how they're struggling. A lot of people talk about Offaly Cavan in the relegation zone. What about Kildare? They're on 3 points at the moment, only a point above Cavan. They're in a bit of trouble as well, so they need a result this weekend. Even though some of their players have done very, very well this season. Brian McLaughlin's the top scorer for play in Division 2 with 114. Owen Colley's been brilliant in the league so far as well. I don't know, is Alex Byrne could be back for this one? I think it was a 1-game ban, so he'll be back for this one. That's a massive boost to Kildare, and he wasn't there against Cavan, so that needs to be noted. So yeah, this could be a tight game. I expect because they've won some tight games before, I expect them to get over the line in this one. The fact they got pretty much a wake-up call against Cork, they didn't turn up in the first half, and then obviously the second half they had a late rally and maybe weren't lucky with a few decisions down south, but like they shouldn't have put themselves in that position in the first place. Cork were probably the better team. They were more up for them in many ways. I think if Meath are up for this one, I think they should be Kildare. But the thing is, Kildare will be well up for it as well. So I'm expecting a tight affair. I'm going to say Meath will win this 220 to 122. It's going to be a tight game.
Do you know when GA Plus do their wildcard picks, like I wouldn't be surprised if Kildare spoil this on Meath. Because Meath have had their promotion push from Division 2 derailed in the past. And I don't know, like maybe losing to Cork, it'll be interesting to see how they respond. Now, I'm talking a big game there, but I am going with Meath. But I'd be interested to see if they wobble after losing to Cork. I think it will say a lot about Robbie Brennan's team. However, losing to Louth last year in the Leinster final, and you saw what they did straight after. Put on a brilliant display in the group stages of the All-Ireland and beat Kerry in a fantastic performance. So I do expect Meath to bounce back and I expect them to shade it, but I think Kildare will go all out to try and spoil the party. Any disagreements, lads? Anyone shading Kildare?
No, I agree with both you lads. Yeah, I think Meath narrowly.
Okay. Anyway, we've plenty of comments in about this game. It's thing popping off here, but we're gonna Alex Byrne back for Kildare this week is big. Grand Admiral Dane says we'll possibly have Ronan Jones back, maybe Rafferty. Costello will be back for the championship. Conor Hendry says Kildare to narrowly lose 119 to 120. Matthew Costello to score a buzzer beater 2-pointer. I'm not sure if Costello is actually playing. If he's not, that's huge, but you've got Owen Frayne there, still huge 2-pointer threats. Kildare 119, Meath 122. Jack Flynn, obviously another 2-pointer threat that Meath have there. Gavin saying Meath would be sickened if they don't go up this year, even though I would fancy them next year. But if it becomes a thing, though, that could be a concern. Yeah, if it gets into the head that you tend to bottle it, I mean, just ask Arsenal. Sorry, Liam. Anyway, we're going to move on to the next game. It was teed up. I'm going to show this game to you, Aaron. Division 2 Round 5 clash, Cavan versus Louth, Sunday at 5:15 in Breffni Park. Cavan off the mark with their first win last week. This looks like a very difficult trip now for Louth.
It is, yeah, and this is a hard one to call, to be honest with you, because both teams kind of turned the corner last week. Louth coming in on the back of a famous win versus Tyrone. Obviously, Cavan getting the better of Kildare as well, so it's very, very hard to call. Louth have some of their big hitters back playing well, and the likes of Samuel Roy and Craig Lennon and a few others. But Cavan have won. Paddy Lynch, who's been banging them in as well and scoring some excellent 2-pointers. So very, very hard one to call. The home advantage might be key, but I think for Louth, I don't know what was said at halftime in that Meath game, but that seemed like a massive turning point maybe in Louth's season in this league, because although they went on to lose that game, I think they were 11 points down at halftime. They came flying out of the traps in the second half and made that a game, and then obviously followed that up with a win versus Tyrone. And then obviously, a few weeks ago they were obviously pretty poor versus Cork as well. So I'm going to go with Louth narrowly. I think when this game is in the home stretch and very close, I think Louth have the players to get them over the line as opposed to Cavan more so. So I'm going to go with Louth narrowly. I think by maybe 2 points.
I'm going to agree with you. Anyone tipping Cavan?
Not Louth by 3.
Okay. So we're all going with a Louth one. And now, lads, it is time for quick pick time. Division 3 and Division 4. But first, we have a comment from Gavin. He says, I usually absolutely despise head-to-head, but I won't complain if Cavan get a vital one against Louth. Cavan have to win this. Now it's quick pick time, and we're into Division 3's round 5. This week in Division 3, we have Down hosting Fermanagh Saturday at 6 p.m. in Park Ezra. Laois hosting Westmeath Saturday at 6 p.m. in O'Moore Park. Limerick hosting Clare Saturday at 6 p.m. in McNeville Park. An interesting clash there, obviously local rivals. And Wexford hosts Sligo Sunday at 1 p.m. in Wexford Park. The first man I'm going to throw this to is yourself, Aaron. What are you thinking from these 4 games?
Yeah, I think Down will be Fermanagh fairly comfortably, to be honest with you. I think Fermanagh are down and out, and unfortunately their races ran, and I think, I don't know if Down can actually secure promotion this weekend with a win, but they can. Well, yeah, I think they will actually. I think they will get promoted anyway. To be fair, but yeah, Laois Westmeath is an interesting one. Like that, obviously, is a bit of a Midlands derby. I'm going to go with Westmeath to win that one, just with the form that they're in. But I actually think Laois might give this a bit of a go, just given the fact that it is a rivalry, and Laois have actually been decent enough when they have played. They have played at home. I'll go with Clare to beat Limerick as well. Clare actually have been scoring like big numbers. They've kind of averaged around like the 20-point mark per game. Whereas Limerick haven't been scoring huge amounts. So I'll go with Clare to come through that. Wexford Sligo could go either way. To be honest with you, like I feel like these two have been very up and down in this league. But I think the home advantage might be the difference. And I think Sligo have been quite poor on the road. So I'll go with Wexford by 2.
Did you mean that pun there, down and out?
Absolutely, of course it is.
Chef's kiss. Matthew, what are you thinking for these 4 games?
Down to beat Fermanagh comfortably. Westmeath to narrowly get over Laois. Sligo to beat Wexford. Is still a faith in Sligo. And Limerick to beat Clare. I think Limerick took the right route last year and go to the Tanton Cup rather than Clare.
Liam, anything you're thinking?
I think Down could win this game by 20 points against Fermanagh. I think it could be a very tough weekend for them. I'm going to give it to Westmeath to beat Laois kind of comfortably enough in the end, but I think it could be a competitive game. I was hindering on a draw between Limerick and Clare, but I'm actually going to back Limerick to win this weekend, just having home advantage. And I think I agree with Aaron. I think having home advantage with Wexford would be crucial. Sligo's away form for me is not great. So yeah, I'm going to back Wexford to win this weekend too.
I'm going to go with Down to beat Fermanagh. I think I can't see them losing that game. I think Laois will put up an almighty test to Westmeath, but I can see Westmeath getting out by the skin of their teeth and think they're going to win that by a point. I think Limerick hosting Clare, I think that's a really, really dangerous game for Clare. Just local rivals, Tailteann Cup finalists last year. I'm actually going to shade it to Limerick. Sorry, Jer, please don't. He's in the comments. Please don't hate me. Wexford against Sligo. I am going to back Sligo to win that one, even though it is in Wexford Park. I still think Sligo are an outside shot if anyone's going to overthrow the top 2 in the division. But yeah, quick picks part 2. We're moving to Division 4. And we have 2 huge clashes, especially at the top of the table. First up, Wicklow away to Antrim. If anything's going to derail the Garden County, it could be this trip away to Roger Casements. That throws in on Saturday at 5 p.m. Longford against Carlow. Carlow's 100% record, 4 wins out of 4, but now they go away to a revitalised Longford Sunday at 2 p.m. in Pearse Park. Tipperary hosts Leitrim Sunday at 2 p.m. in Clonmel, while London hosts Waterford Sunday at 1 p.m. in McGovern Park in Ruislip. Liam, what are you going with for round 5 of Division 4? Quick pick time.
I'm going to back Wicklow to just about get over Antrim, despite going away from home, which is never easy to do against Antrim. I'm going to back Wicklow to do it. I'm going to back London to beat Waterford. I just think Waterford just don't have a lot going forward for them at the moment, unfortunately for them. Tipperary Leitrim is a strange one. That is a game that could go either way, but I think with having home advantage, I'm going to back Tipperary to win it, but just about. I could see Leitrim actually leading this game in the last minute and Tipperary coming up with a late goal or a late 2-pointer potentially. And Longford Carlow. Again, could be hindering on a draw, but I'm tempted to go Longford, but I have a weird feeling Carlow could turn up and win this one. I'm actually going to go for a draw with that one.
You ever hear the TV curse?
Yeah.
Carlo manager going on the GA plus the View show. Robbie Brennan goes on the View show, and then next week they lose to Cork. Carlo manager going on the View.
Can someone tell Malachy O'Rourke to pop up?
Malachy O'Rourke, jump on Cúilín Media last minute. We want to do an interview with you ahead of the Offaly game. I'm actually going to go with both promotion pushes to get derailed. I think Antrim are going to hold Wicklow to a draw. And I think Longford will actually beat Carlow. I'm going to say that just because Longford have turned a bit of a corner. They got back on the winning board and they made it back-to-back wins. Their confidence is up. And you know what? Just given how Carlow are just flying it in terms of like, I could see Longford, especially local rivals, being like determined to take them down. And then in the other two games, I'm going to go with London to shade it against Waterford. And I'm going to go for Tipperary to shade it against Leitrim. Matthew, what are you thinking for this round?
Wicklow, Carlow, Tipperary, London.
Nice and straightforward. Aaron?
Yeah, I'll go Wicklow, London, Carlow, and Leitrim.
Very good. Well, we're going to move on now. We're going to switch codes. We're going to hurling next. And Matthew, I'm going to go back over to you for this because it again concerns your home county. Round 5 of Division 1A. Kilkenny hosting Cork Sunday at 3:15 p.m. in Nolan Park. Cork maintaining their 100% record, but Kilkenny obviously got a great win against Waterford, battled to the bitter end and got the winning score from a free from Cian Kenny. Now they host Cork. What are you expecting from this one? Strange
enough encounter, I think, here because both sides are missing some key men. Obviously, Kilkenny are without TJ Reid for foreseeable in the league. I don't know when exactly he will be back. Obviously, Hugh Lawler, Billy Bryan have been losses this year from a Kilkenny point of view as well. There are newer players that have stepped up, but Owen Cody ultimately is the main man for the 1-9 from play in Division 1A so far, the top scorer. For Cork, though, we are flying, but we have a few players missing this weekend, notably Shane Barrett, who's suspended for this game. Look, if it's a red card, if it's not a red card against Tip, that is over now. Look, he's gone. He's suspended. Declan Dalton apparently is injured for this one as well. Dermot Healy is injured for this game as well. So that's almost your entire half-forward line, I would say. So key players really have to step up in this one. It's going to be interesting to see, does Ben bring William Buckley out to the half-forward line? Does he put Darragh Fitzgibbon at the number 10 position, which he has done in the last few games, to be fair? Does Brian Roach get his go in the car team as well? I think Mark Coleman's missing for this one as well, which is a massive blow, I think, at half-back. So look, both sides are missing some main players. What is interesting, though, from a Cork point of view, I'm not impressed more so for the wins. I'm more impressed with the players that Ben is using and the variety of players he's using, because out of the 36-man squad he has picked, 28 players have got game time, which is good. It really is good to give every player a bit of a chance and see what they've got, especially the likes of William Buckley, who's really done well in the league so far. Like he's on the top scores for play chart, and this is his first inter-county senior season, which is very impressive from him. Look, it's another chance to improve on frees from the likes of Alan Connolly, for instance, as well. Yeah, I sense it's going to be a weird enough encounter because both sides are missing some key players, I would say. I think we'll edge it, though. I think Cork will edge it because the fact is now we're in a position where a league final is tangible, and the fact is as well, if we beat Kilkenny, we'll go into the Limerick game in the Gaelic grounds with a bit of a rest, in fairness. We'll be, we won't be under too much pressure. I think Limerick are hitting form at the right time as well. So if we are to get a win to seal a league final spot, I think this is the weekend to do it. I think we will win this by about, I'm going to say 4 points.
It's a very good prediction. I do agree. I think they're going to get over the line in this game. I haven't been too impressed by Kilkenny, to be honest. It's just more like I saw the team against Waterford. Some very good players, don't get me wrong, but like as a Dublin fan, and Liam, I'm sure you can attest to this as an Offaly fan as well, the Kilkenny teams that I watched Dublin go up against growing up, there'd be names in that forward line that would send the fear of God into you. And I was looking at it going, they still need TJ to come back. Like they still need him, and like they haven't got those lads. Like Aaron, you mentioned it on one of the previous episodes, that big players like Billy Drennan came through and then haven't been able to hit the ground running as quickly as people expected them to. So they definitely, I don't think they're going to be as competitive as they were even at the start of the 2020s this year. I think Cork are going to win this game. But Matthew, I want to throw it back to you as a Cork fan. Do you want to get, like, I know there's all that rhetoric around winning the league. Do you want to push on and go for a league title, or would you rather conserve the forces almost for the Munster Championship?
I've said this from the very off, and I made this prediction on the Cúilín media prediction video basically out of hope that we actually finish 5th in the league, simply because I don't want the hype to go up again. I simply don't. The hype went up to an astronomical level last year and we came crashing down the All-Ireland final. I don't want that to happen again. But the fact is, we are in a position now, we're on 6 points, 100% records. I think Ben is just going to go for the league. I'm not entirely a fan of it because we needed to win a national trophy last year, granted, to get a bit of confidence going within the group that we can go on and win a national trophy. But we don't need it this year. We won the league last year. We don't need to prove anything. Like, we need to win an All-Ireland championship. The Liam McCarthy is the be-all and end-all for me. Ben isn't saying that in the media. He's saying he wants to win every game, but I think he is thinking that at the back of his mind. I think he wants the Liam McCarthy more than anything as well, because the longer we talked about this with Meath and Division 1, Division 2, promotion from Division 2, the longer this goes on, the longer we don't get an All-Ireland, the more people will start to question or bottle. That's the reality of it. It's the frank reality. We have to win an All-Ireland sooner rather than later with this group of players, with the managers we have had over the last few years, with the likes of Pat Ryan and obviously Ben coming in, even the lads of the backroom team, the likes of the Wayne Sherlocks of this world who was in last season. We can't have that much talent on the line and on the pitch without an All-Ireland title. It's as simple as that. That's the bottom line. So I feel like, look, I don't want the hype to get to the players. If that's the correct terminology. Look,
yeah.
Hopefully they'll stay calm under the pressure once the summer comes. There wasn't that element last year in the All-Ireland final. Maybe they played badly in the first half. They were ahead by 6 points. But it's almost like they expected something to happen in the second half. And it just didn't happen. So we need to keep our feet on the ground. We need to keep grounded and just focus on the main aim. That's the All-Ireland title. If we win the league, even if it's against Limerick in the final, a lot of Cork fans have a bit of a rivalry and a bit of a hatred with Limerick. Personally, just on a side note, I don't hate Limerick that much, to be fair. I'm actually on the side that I do like Limerick a bit. Cork fans will kill me for that. But I do feel like, look, winning a league final against Limerick will mean absolutely zilch if we don't go all the way. That's what I'm trying to say. Look, I want us to win the All-Ireland, and one of the ways to do that is to keep the hype down, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, like, sure, me and Aaron experienced it, like, as Dubs, like, the Dublin footballers up until 2011 would always get overhyped, over-gassed, and then whenever we get to a semi-final, it would usually fall apart, like, or it would usually fall apart at the quarter-final stage, like the back-to-back hammerings in 2008 and 2009 to Tyrone and Kerry, respectively, and then when Pat Gilroy came in, it was a clear objective of his to shoot down the hype. You don't want to be overhyped. And the thing is like, with the hype last year with Cork, it wasn't just that they won, it's the way they won. They they battered Tipperary in the league final. Easy. And then the way that they beat us in the All-Ireland semi-final, hammered us, scored 7 goals. Like, you can't keep the hype down when you score 7 goals in an All-Ireland semi-final. It's impossible to do that. So I definitely think that, like, the way, even like to put it that way, the way that Dublin got to the All-Ireland final in 2011 under Pat Gilroy was perfect, because we won one of the worst games of all time against Donegal in that All-Ireland semi-final and went into the game as massive underdogs against Kerry. So definitely, if Cork can kind of tiptoe almost to the final, like, let the hype go to Tipperary, let the hype go to Limerick, I think Ben O'Connor would be absolutely delighted with that. I think then Ben has done a few press conferences, so I think now just let everybody else talk about the other counties and carry on with your business. That's what Limerick did so well, especially the year when Waterford were being hyped up to be their rival. Limerick just let the machine do the talking. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Any disagreements, lads? Anyone back in Kilkenny? Or we move on to next game?
No, Cork should win this game. And I do agree with you, Seamus, as an Offaly fan. I'm not as worried about Kilkenny this year as I was over the previous years. Not to say I think we're going to go and beat them or anything, but they're not the same Kilkenny as a couple of years ago. And especially, like Matthew said there, having no Hugh Lawler or Billy Ryan, I think they're nearly bigger misses in a way right now than TJ, because TJ is still, he's at the end of the day, he is 38, 39, whereas Hugh Lawler is the best fullback in Kilkenny by a country mile. And Billy Ryan, even in Ireland, yeah. And Billy Ryan was in savage form last year. So yeah, no, Cork. I think Cork will win this. I don't think it'll be one-sided or anything, but Cork should win this weekend.
Aaron, I'm going to show you the next game. That is the clash of Galway and Waterford in Pearse Stadium, Sunday at 2 p.m. This one throws in Waterford, obviously heartbroken the last day out against Kilkenny. Galway's last day out was a victory away in Offaly, but they've had a bit of a mixed bag in this league campaign. Am I right in saying, lads, that they've two wins, one defeat, or is it two defeats, one win? 2 defeats, 1 win. What do you think, Aaron, for this one?
Yeah, it's a hard one to call. Like I think Galway, to be fair, like even though they do have 2 defeats, like they were very impressive, I thought, versus Cork. Like they did show a lot of positives in that game, and a lot of what we criticised Galway about in recent seasons in terms of the structure of how they would play and everything else. I think, to be fair, they were far more impressive in the win, or in the performance versus Cork, and then obviously in the win versus Offaly as well. Likes of Colm Malloy have obviously been brilliant. We know the brilliance of Camogie scoring 1-9 the last day, 10 points versus Cork as well. But to be fair to Waterford, like they're coming in, I know they lost against Kilkenny, but to be fair, they gave a good rattle. And they found a bit more about themselves, Waterford, this year. Obviously with Ruben Halloran coming back into the side, he's been absolutely outstanding. But even Sean Walsh as well, like I was very impressed with him in a full forward. Versus Kilkenny, scored 1-2, and Waterford fans can correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't heard too much about them. So obviously introducing these players kind of into the side, I think, is absolutely huge from a Waterford perspective, or getting the best out of some of these lads. So that will give Waterford a bit of confidence when you do still have some other players to come back into the team. But I do think Galway, with the home advantage, they are getting a good spread of scores as well. I think Tom Monaghan's been in good form as well. So I'll go with Galway narrowly, probably by 1 or 2 points. But again, this is one of them games that Waterford could turn it on and win, but I think home advantage will be key.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Galway to win this, home advantage playing a big role in that. We did a couple of very interesting comments in there about Kilkenny, which I'll just address as well. Jer saying about how Kilkenny will probably still win Leinster, even though we're saying they're not at the same level. To be honest, I would still put Kilkenny as favourites for Leinster, but I think Dublin have as good a chance of catching them than I've seen us have in a long, long time. I'd say since 2013. Galway are getting better, but I'd still put Kilkenny ahead of them for now. Wexford also, in my opinion, on the right track, but definitely still behind Kilkenny, and I'd say the same for Offaly as well. On the right track, but Kilkenny are ahead. And then it's just, I don't see Kilkenny as much as All-Ireland contenders, is my point, in terms of how I used to see them. Now, I still think that they're an outside shot, but I think you have to go... I think you have to look at the Munster teams as the favourites for the All-Ireland this year. Again, another very good comment by A2 is saying that the 2022 team, that they're not... I actually have a hot take about it. I think the 2022 Kilkenny team, and jump in, lads, if you think I'm wrong, I think the 2022 team personally was a better team than their 2015 team that won the All-Ireland. I think that game against Limerick were fantastic. Kilkenny scored 226 in the All-Ireland final and lost. Like, they had a magnificent team that year. And I think that year in 2015, I don't think there was the same sharks that there were in the hurling championship. I think Kilkenny were starting to peter off. I think that was why that was their last All-Ireland. And then the 2016 final, they got swept aside by Tipperary. So I personally think, look, if that was the Kilkenny team under Brian Cody going up against the opposition that they had in the mid-2010s, I think that Kilkenny team under Cody would have won that final. It's just they're coming up against one of the greatest Limerick teams. They're the greatest Limerick team of all time, one of the greatest teams you've ever seen. That's my personal opinion. But I would understand why you'd see it different ways as well. because obviously that Kilkenny team that won the All-Ireland was a great team. Jerry here saying Waterford to shade this one by a score. Random stat is that the All-Ireland final in 2017 was the only championship win for Galway over Waterford, which is crazy when you think. Peter here saying, Aaron Seamus, would you start Hedgehoe this year or spring with 20 to go? I'd spring him with 20 to go. What would you think, Aaron?
Depends on the game, really. I think in games where you're probably playing, I think it's a hard one, to be honest with you. I think having seen him against Wexford, I think at the moment you have to start him with current form.
He looks like he could do the full 70, no problem.
Yeah, and I think if he keeps this form, you can't not play him. Do you know? I do understand the opinion of bringing him off the bench, but I also think as well this narrative that he's just like a Hail Mary kind of type player where you just float the ball in and hope for it. I do think he is very skillful. Do you know what I mean? And I actually think he has a lot more to offer maybe than just being like a bear in the square type player. I know that's kind of how we've kind of utilized him a lot of the time, but I'd start him.
Yeah, good point for Jay here saying that he seems to play his best game against Wexford. Did you see the photo of Hedgehoe and Chin? Absolutely did. And the comment as well about we'll see each other in May. I was like, this is WWE type shit, and I love it. This is brilliant. But we're going to move on to the next game. Liam, as an Offaly man, I'm going to throw you this one. It's a big clash against Limerick, but it's in O'Connor Park. And when we're talking about it, you were mentioning in the in-studio pod that as an Offaly fan, you want to play the big teams. You want to play the best teams. I mean, doesn't get much bigger than Limerick coming to town.
Yeah, and even interviewing Brian Gavin earlier just for my show tomorrow night, he was saying to himself that, look, it's better that Offaly are getting these games than maybe being down, in, say, no offense, lads, back, we're going to be there next year anyway, but being back down in Division 1B or Division 2, you're better off playing this level of opposition. And you'd probably agree as well, if you'd rather be playing Kilkenny's, Cork's, Tipperary's, and getting yourself up to that level for the championship. So, look, I'm delighted to see us playing against Limerick. I don't see us winning this weekend. I'm not that delusional yet. But I do want. But look, it's going to be a very tough game for us. The one big positive we got from last weekend was that Donald Shirley and crucially Killian Sampson were back for us. And, Killian Sampson he wasn't necessarily marking Cathal Mannion a lot. Mannion was kind of going around doing his own thing nearly, to be honest with you. But Killian Sampson was very solid at centre back and we needed him back very, very sharply. And for our first game back, he looks very, very good. So it's good to have him back right now. I even said it just before I came on here on my TikTok that we need to get more scores from our other forwards. It's been, the ball is nearly going to Adam Screeney a bit too much. They're nearly expecting him to do the business every single time. But the problem is now you've 2-3 lads on him every single time that the ball goes into it because they know that he's our biggest threat. And Limerick will do the exact same thing this weekend. And then even bringing ball into Dignan, who's good at catching the ball and everything, especially last weekend in the second half, we need more from our other forwards as well. We do need, I don't know whether he'd be fit this weekend. I think he went off injured last weekend, but we'll need Owen Cahill's and Oisin Kelly's and even Dan Burke's to start, getting themselves a couple of more scores on the board. But obviously that depends on the chances that we create, because doing that against Limerick this weekend is going to be notoriously tough, especially when they have Kyle Hayes back, William O'Donoghue at centre back. I'm petrified to think what Adam English could do to us in midfield. I like the chap, I get on with him, but I don't want him to perform well this weekend. And Aidan O'Connor's in fine form as well, Shane O'Brien. So look, it's going to be a good true test for us, to be honest with you. But look, it's going to be a tough Sunday result again, I think. But look, our final two games are against Limerick and Cork. We have nothing to lose at this point. I think we just need to go out and just give it our best. And our goal is the Dublin game on the 18th of April. It's as simple as that. That's the game that we're looking towards and trying to get players back for that, etc. So look, again, if they can put in a good performance for a long time, even if it was only for the first 35 minutes, like they did against Tip, then I feel like I'll be happy enough. Look, if Limerick won it by 8, I wouldn't be disappointed like that. I think that'll show a lot of progress from our side, especially even with still some of the players that we do have out, which I wish we did have at our disposal. But I think Limerick should win this game. But look, I'm still looking forward to it. And funny fact with the Galway Waterford, I was at that All-Ireland final and I was delighted to say I was supporting Galway. So I'm clearly not against Galway. See, I do actually like Galway. But yeah, no, I think Limerick should win this game this weekend.
Yeah, no, you have the rivalry from meeting in the finals, and Crack of the Ash here saying you could never beat Offaly enough 94 remembers. I mean, that's just one that you will just have forever, that 1994 All-Ireland final, that one of the greatest comebacks the GAA has ever seen. We're going to move on now to Division 1B and round 5. Aaron, I'm going to throw this one to you first. This is a huge clash for us. Antrim against Dublin, Sunday at 2 p.m. in Corrigan Park. Look, we salvaged the draw with the last puck of the game against Wexford. Chris Crummy slapped it up and over the bar. But if we slip up here in this one, and this is a very tricky away day, it has proven to be tough over the last few years. If we trip here, we can forget about promotion. And Antrim obviously got their first win against Carlow. I believe it was in the same ground. I know it was at home. But if we stumble here, we can forget about promotion.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's probably playing Antrim maybe at the wrong time. It feels like Antrim were maybe criticised and written off by everyone. And then the footballers, the hurlers, the ladies footballers, and the Camogie team as well all decided to win on the same weekend. So yeah, it's going to be a very tough game from a Dublin perspective. And I think it's we've kind of done it the opposite way to Wexford in the sense that we've had the tougher games first, and now we're obviously playing the easier games on paper. Wexford have had their easier games and won them, albeit it hasn't been convincing. But yeah, we have to win the game really. Like if Dublin hurling has progressed like we think it has, and we all agree that it has, and been down to 13 men in the closing stages versus Wexford, like the amount of fight and tenacity we showed to get back into the game was commendable. But yeah, we have to win the game. We have to go there and win, in my opinion. And I think that we will, to be fair. Like I think we do have the qualities, as we were kind of saying before. I think Donald Burke's obviously back playing his best hurling, as is Brian Hayes as well, Ronan Hayes. So I think we will have enough. Antrim's big win versus Carlow does worry me a little bit, and I am a little bit concerned that Davey might have some mad plan up his sleeve or something like that, in terms of what he might do if Hedgehoe does play, or something in regards to that. But I am going to back us. I think we do. I think we just need to play our own game, play our own stuff, not kind of buy into outside noise. Or it will be interesting to see how we deal with the favourites tag a little bit as well, because we're not often used to having that in these type of games. Obviously, we would usually against Antrim, but there wouldn't be maybe the pressure on us a little bit as there is going into this. So yeah, it's massive. And to be fair, I think we will win it, but I do think it'll be close. Like I think there might only be 3-4 points in it, and I think Antrim will absolutely push us in the game.
I think it's a classic game, and the longer Antrim stay in it, the more jittery we might get. I think we need to stamp our authority on the game in the first 20 minutes and try hit the back of the net at least once. Yeah, I'm going to go with us to shade this one, but I think it will be more nervy than people think. I'm going to go with Dublin to win this one. Matthew, this one, another big clash. Owen Kelly actually picked this as his wild card pick of the week on The View on GA+. Down versus Kildare, Sunday at 1 p.m. in McKenna Park in Ballycran. Kildare obviously put in a very, very good display against Clare the last day out, but going away to Ballycran, it's a difficult place to go. And obviously down have some fantastic players. Can you see Kildare going away and getting the win?
Funny enough, like could be a big banana skin for Kildare, considering they did lose to Down in the league final last year in Division 2 in Inniskeen. And that was a difficult enough pitch to play on as well. Like Ballycran, it's a difficult place to go. It is a very, very difficult place to go for Kildare. I'm sure they're well used to it playing down in Division 2. We're playing against them down in the Joe McDonough and Christy Ring and all them competitions over the last few years. And Down will be up for this game. If Down were earmarking a game, they'd be earmarking a game at home and against a side that would be in and around their level. Let's say Kildare or Carlow, and dare I say it, their Ulster rivals Antrim. Down will be looking at this game and thinking we could realistically get a win here. And if memory serves me correct, I think their last game was against Wexford, wasn't it? Or was it?
I think, did they have the bye week last week?
Did the bye week last week, but I think their last game was against Wexford. They only lost by 2.
Yeah, it was 29-27, wasn't it? Or 27.
Yes, that was round 2 for Wexford.
Yeah. So like that just shows you, once you go up to Ballycran, it's a difficult place to go. It really is. The thing is, though, on the flip side to it, Kildare will be saying to themselves, we tested Clare, we beat Antrim. Realistically, with the greatest respect, we should be beating Down. If GA math adds up, obviously, but as you know, Seamus, it doesn't. But yeah, it's a difficult game to call, really. I'm gonna sit in the fence. I'm gonna go for a draw.
I actually, it's weird. I can 100% see where Owen Kelly's coming from with his pick in terms of the wild card, that Down absolutely could beat Kildare, especially with home advantage. But I was very impressed with how Kildare performed against Clare. And I do believe like they did bloody up Arno's a bit in Parnell Park too. I think Kildare are going to do it. I'm going to shade it to them. Any disagreements, lads, as we move to the next game?
Kildare.
No.
Okay, well, Liam, you have the next game here, and Aaron, we need a big favour from Carlo. Carlo versus Clare, Saturday at 6 p.m. in Cullen Park, because as Jer pointed out in the comments, if Clare win this game, they're promoted, and that's before the Wexford game. So, I don't know, Brian Lohan could just... He has the hand like this, you know what I mean? Like he could decide whether we're going up or not. But if Carlo can put a dent in Clare's promotion charge, then Clare might need to go all in on that last game.
Go full Batista when he was deciding Raw or SmackDown with the thumb. Look, do you know what? After last weekend, I wouldn't put it past Carlo to get very close to them like the way Kildare did last weekend. Like I thought Kildare would have put up a fight to Clare last weekend, but I didn't expect them to get as close as they did. Like when I was checking the score up in Derry, I was amazed, but I was also impressed and slightly worried for the fact that we had to go away to them in the final round of the Leinster Championship now. But look, I think Carlo would have put up a fight. They always do. Carlo have a lot of really good players in their team. Everybody knows about Marty Kavanagh. They have James Doyle in their team, Conor Keogh as well. Like they have a lot of really good players across their team. But look, Clare, you know, arguably are the best team in Division 1B, or certainly they have been so far this season. I just can't see anything but a Clare win, to be honest. Even seeing Tony Kelly, whether he'll play this weekend or not, if he plays this weekend, I mean, he got 8 points, if I'm correct off the top of my head, last weekend against Kildare, and they all came from play, I think. Do you know, like him against, no disrespect to Carter, but him going up against this type of opposition, it's bread and butter for him. You know, if he's getting, 5-6 points against the likes of Limericks and Corks and Tipperaries and Kilkennys, then he'll do the same again this weekend. So I think Clare will probably win this game by about 7-8 points, but I can see it being a comfortable enough 7-8 points in the end. And yeah, you'll probably need a big favor then going into the final game. I'm gonna give it to Clare.
Yeah, I think Carlo's defeat away to Antrim as well doesn't fill me with too much confidence coming in. Brian Salmon here saying Kilkenny haven't had TJ Reid, Adrian Mullen or John Donnelly starting. Everyone always desperate to write them off, but they never go away. And definitely they have the opportunity to make a big statement this weekend when they do host Cork. We're going to move on though to quick pick time. And are we ready to go, lads? Let's move and start with Division 2's round 5. And anyone want to bravely volunteer to go first on the quick picks for this?
Sure, go on. I'll take it.
All right, Limo's going to take it. Division 2, round 5 predictions for 2025. So starting off, we have Derry against London, Saturday at 1 p.m. in Celtic Park. Mayo against Meath, Saturday at 2 p.m. in Turin. And Westmeath hosting Laois, Sunday at 2 p.m. in Cusack Park. What are you thinking?
Just with having home advantage, I'm going to shade it to Derry to just about get over the line, but I think London will put up a big fight against them. Meath for me to beat Mayo away from home, and
you're well spotted, yeah. It's past an hour, 15 minutes.
Westmeath Laois is a tough one. I think that can go either way. I mean, especially with the game being in Cusack Park, Mullingar is a horrible place to go to, club or county, to be honest. But Laois showed good bottle to get over the line against Kerry the last time. And look, Westmeath, they had a good, comfortable win over in London. But I'm going to shade it to Laois to win by 4 or 5 points. And Jerry Buckley, if you're listening, I do apologise. But I think Laois will shade this victory.
Any disagreements, lads? I'm going to go with Derry, Meath and Laois. Matthew
Yeah.
agrees. Aaron, any disagreements? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We're going to move on now to the next round of predictions, which is Division 3's round 5. Matthew, I'll throw these to you first. Quick picks with an eye on the clock. Obviously, as we head towards an hour and a half with 2 codes left to cover. Roscommon hosts Tyrone Saturday at 2:30 p.m. in the Hyde. Louth hosts Donegal Sunday at 2 p.m. in Protection and Prosperity Louth. Wicklow hosts Fermanagh on Sunday at 2 p.m. in Aughrim then.
Roscommon, Donegal, and Wicklow.
I have no disagreements with that, lads. Any disagreements?
Nope.
I was the most torn on Wicklow Fermanagh, but I'm gonna agree with you on your predictions there, Matthew, and that moves us on to the National Hurling League Division 4 round 5. And Aaron, I'm going to throw these ones to you for quick picks. First of all, we have Lancashire hosting Longford Saturday at 1 p.m. in Abbottstown. Leitrim hosting Cavan Saturday at 2 p.m. in Pork Sean McDermott, and Warwickshire hosting Monaghan on Sunday at 1 p.m. in Pork na HÉireann. What are you thinking for these 3?
Yeah, I go for 3 away wins there. Longford, Cavan, and Monaghan.
Any disagreements, lads? I'm happy to go with it. I probably maybe shade Warwickshire to beat Monaghan, but apart from that, I'd be fairly happy with the other games. But anyway, that is the hurling wrapped up, and now we're going to move on to the LGFA, and we have a huge clash taking place in Division 1A round 5. We had not Division 1A, apologies, Division 1 round 5. Cork against Waterford, 2 teams that are absolutely in contention to get into the Division 1 final. They meet in Páirc Uí Rinn Saturday at 7:35 p.m. Matthew, is it fair to say this one's a bit of a league semi-final?
Possibly so. Like, both sides have really excelled in the league so far, to be fair. Like, Waterford were the team of the league before their loss to Bede last weekend. Like, the likes of Bríd McMaw, Chloe Fennell, Anya O'Neill, they were flying. Cork have gone, would you see, under the radar at this stage? No, because like that's 10 points out of a possible 12. That's very, very impressive from Joe Carroll's side. And obviously, like, he did say to the media, funnily enough, like, before the league began, Joe was saying that we need to get to the magic number in terms of points to stay in Division 1. But now he's saying we have a new target. We need to get to the Division 1 final. And to be fair, everyone would expect Joe Carroll to say that, because obviously they are top of the league after 4 rounds, going to round 5. So, like, they are going pretty well at this present moment in time, Cork. What I will say about Cork, though, they are a bit over-reliant, I would say, on Katie Quirk. She's got 22 points in the campaign. For context, Cork's next top scorer is on Terry O'Sullivan, 1-4. So Cork needs a lot more scores in and around the areas to get over the line. They get the likes of Abigail Rinn, the likes of Grace Nevark, who really need to step up this weekend, because you know Waterford forwards, they have a huge spread of scores across the pitch, as the players I've mentioned there. It's good. It's tight with Cork. I think Cork have confidence, but Waterford have variety. I'm gonna say a draw.
Any disagreements, lads? Anyone picking a winner for this one?
Yeah, sorry, Matthew, I'm going Waterford. Sorry. I just like this Waterford team a lot. I know they had a bit of a setback there recently, but I said it kind of last time that I don't think one defeat against Meath is going to tarnish their season. I still think they're going to get to the league final. I still think they're a top class side, and I think what better way to bounce back from a 2-point disappointing enough defeat at home than by going to one of your local rivals, nearest neighbours, and picking up a strong victory. But it won't be simple. Like, Cork are in very good form at the moment. Have picked up some very impressive results, and I'm kind of saying this not as confident as I maybe would have been a couple of weeks ago, considering what Cork did to Kerry there recently as well. I mean, beating them, was it double digits in the end that they bet them 16-8, if I'm correct in saying. Like, it was a very impressive performance in Kerry as well. Yeah, but I'm going to shade it to Waterford to maybe win by 3 points. But again, like Matthew, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a draw. This could be the potential to be a semi-final for the league final.
It kind of has draw written all over it, doesn't it? Like, I feel like just the two of them are going to be so good at nulling each other out. I'm not going to be boring and say a draw. I'm going to agree with you, Liam. I think Waterford should bounce back. I think Cork have to have a blip somewhere. Like, surely Waterford have already had theirs. So I'm going to shade it to Waterford. Aaron, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I go with Waterford as well. I think the form that they're in after some of the big wins that they've racked up, it's been the story of the season really for both teams, and I think it's great for both Cork and Waterford to be in the position that they're in. But yeah, I think Waterford in particular will come through it.
Okay, so we've gone with 3 wins for Waterford and a draw. And now we're going to move on to the next clash in Division 1 Round 5. Liam, I'm going to throw this one to you. Kildare hosting Meath Saturday at 5 p.m. in Mangard. Obviously, Meath getting off the mark last weekend, beating Waterford in a very, very impressive victory. And obviously, they beat Dublin before that as well. Whereas Kildare still looking for their first victory.
Yeah, and even though this is away from home, and I can remember, wasn't it last year that they played a game that ended 7-4 in what must have been a very tough watch for a lot of people.
The conditions that day were appalling, though.
Yeah,
I can't.
Yeah. Oh no, like I know they were, but still probably not the best watch in the world compared to some of their other games. But I think, yeah, I would say this to Meath. I think going away to Waterford and picking up a huge victory will give them such confidence, and even getting the victory, like you mentioned, against Dublin as well. They did that in very, very impressive fashion. And although they did lose to Kerry as well a couple of weeks ago, they didn't exactly do it in the most, terrible of fashions. I mean, they lost by what was it, 4 points in the end, 4-10 to 2-12. Like, it was a very good game, and they could easily have gotten something out of that if they wanted to. But look, I just think with the form that Orla Finnegan is in, I think, like Emma Duggan, I believe the last day, was she scoreless the last day, or am I correct in saying that? Against Waterford. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that was part of the reason we were so surprised with the win over Waterford.
Yeah, and you compare that to the last day, she got 7 points against Kerry. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think if she's back on the scoring form this weekend, I think it could be a tough game for Kildare, to be honest with you. You obviously have Ciara Smith as well, Sarah Wall, Orla Sheehy as well in the middle of the park. So I'm gonna give this one to Waterford. I think it could be another tough result for Kildare.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for Meath to shade this one as well. Any disagreements, lads?
Nope.
Okay. Well, Aaron, I'm going to show you the next clash. It is ourselves, Dublin, going away to Armagh Sunday at 2 p.m. in the athletic grounds. Armagh are desperate for a win. Have we got them at a bad time?
Possibly, yeah. Like, especially after a good performance that they put up against Galway. I know Galway beat them in the end, but it will be tough. Like, going away to Armagh, a game we have to win, and maybe similar scenarios will happen, obviously, with Dublin and Armagh and the men's football as well. Look, we did turn the corner. We did get over the line in the end, in the victory versus Kildare, or victory over Kildare, albeit like it took us a bit of time to get going in that game. We were a little bit slow out of the blocks in terms of how that game went, and you were a little bit worried up until Michelle Davern got the goal. But I think it's a hard one to call, to be honest with you. Like, I think Armagh having the home advantage, a lot of people might maybe shade it to Armagh, especially with some of the players that Dublin are missing. But at the same time, we did bring Carla Rowe off the bench in the last game. So I think, like, realistically, I think if we do want to stay up and we do want to try and give staying up in the league a go, then I think she has to play, in my opinion. So I'm going to back us narrowly by a point, but I think it will be a tough game.
Yeah, I'm going to go with us to win this. But again, Ryan here pointing out the Mackins are a big boost. Like, Blaheen looked good in the last game. Like, they're coming back at a bad time for us. I think just getting off the mark, though, against Kildare, I think is going to be crucial for the psychology of it. You've got, the wheels turning. You're on the road. I'm going to go with us to win this. Matthew, I'll throw this one back to you then. Kerry hosting Galway on Sunday at 2 p.m. in Austin Stack Park, a repeat of the 2024 All-Ireland final. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, to be honest, I've been more impressed with Galway than I have been with Kerry. Both sides did lose to Cork, it goes without saying, but I think Galway were missing a lot of the Kilcorn Clonburn girls that day. Kerry probably didn't have much of an excuse losing in Tralee last weekend to Cork, which would have been disappointing for them. I know they were missing some players, but like Schaefer O'Shea was there, Daniel O'Leary was there, I think Rachel O'Dwyer was there as well. So Kerry didn't have much of an excuse. Whereas Galway, you have Olivia Dively probably coming back to the team sooner rather than later. The Wards, I'd imagine, will come back to the team as well. Leanne Cohen's absolutely flying in this league campaign, so is Andrea Trill. I'm going to say Galway. I'm going to back them to win this by 2 points. Again, tight game, but a bit more impressed with Galway than I have been with Kerry.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a victory for Galway, and it's just purely based off form. Peter here saying Kerry by 2. Ryan saying Leonard for the hat-trick this time, potentially, Liam. But, yeah, any disagreements with that? Anyone going Kerry?
No,
No, clean sweep.
Galway this weekend.
All right. Well, that means it is time for quick picks once again. So, we ready to go? Who wants to be first on the roulette wheel this time? Liam took it last time. Matthew, you'll jump up. Okay, so starting off with Division 2's round 5, we have Mayo hosting Donegal on Sunday at 2 p.m. in Amenity Park. Cavan hosting Monaghan Sunday at 2 p.m. in Kilkenny. Wexford hosting Tyrone in St. Patrick's Park. And Westmeath hosting Tipperary.
Draw between Mayo and Donegal. I think Tyrone will win their game this weekend. It was
Cavan Monaghan.
What were you saying?
Cavan Monaghan and Westmeath Tipperary.
Cavan Monaghan. Cavan will beat Monaghan, and Wexford Tipperary. I'm going to say Tip will win their game as well.
I'm going to say Mayo to actually beat Donegal, Cavan to beat Monaghan, Tyrone to beat Wexford, and Tipperary to beat Westmeath. Any disagreements? Liam, what are you going with?
Yeah, I'd agree. I think Mayo might actually beat Donegal. I think Cavan will beat Monaghan as well, but I think Monaghan will put up a good fight against them. I'm going to go with Tyrone to win their game. Westmeath Tipperary, I think Westmeath having home advantage could suit them to a degree as well. And I think having that win against Wexford last weekend could bring a bit of confidence back to them. So I'm actually going to back Westmeath to win this game. But albeit, again, it depends on if Dillon and Jones are fit.
Aaron, what are you going with?
Yeah, I'm going to go Mayo, Cavan, Westmeath and Tyrone.
Nice and straightforward. I like it. We're going to move on now to Division 3's quick picks. And again, we have some crucial clashes for the permutations of it all. Aaron, I'll let you go first this time. Fermanagh hosts Down, Laois hosts Roscommon, Louth host Antrim, and Limerick host Clare. What are you thinking?
So I think I'll go with Clare to get the better of Limerick. I'll go with Laois to get the win as well. What were the first two games? Can you say them again?
First two games, Fermanagh versus Down and Laois versus Roscommon.
Yeah, we'll go with Laois and we'll go with Down as well.
I'm going to go with Down, Laois. I'll go with Louth and I'll go with Clare. Matthew, what are you thinking?
I'm going to go for Fermanagh to beat Down. I'd say Laois will beat Roscommon. And I'm going to say Antrim will beat Louth. And I'm going to say Clare beat Limerick.
Liam?
Yeah, Clare to beat Limerick, Antrim to beat Louth, Laois to beat Roscommon, and I'd say Fermanagh to beat Down.
Fermanagh Down, I think, is the toughest one to call out of those games this week. But Liam, I'm going to throw it right back to you. Division 4 is round 5. In this, we have Derry hosting Leitrim Sunday at 2 p.m, Kilkenny hosting Wicklow Sunday at 2 p.m, Longford hosting Carlow, and Sligo hosting Offaly. Round 6 this is now.
Yeah, I actually have a feeling Leitrim could go and beat Derry. I don't know why. I just have a weird feeling they go up and that they can go up and beat them. Sligo Offaly, do you know what? I'm going to be optimistic and come away with one victory this weekend. So I'm going to say Offaly are going to beat Sligo. I hope the girls don't let me down this week, please, for my sake. I can't take any more defeats. Longford Carlow. I'm going to go with Carlow just simply because I think Longford obviously didn't have the game with us last weekend. It was postponed. So I think Carlow are a bit more sharper at the moment. I'll go with Carlow and Wicklow to beat Kilkenny.
I'm actually going to go with a sweep for the away teams. I'm going to go Leitrim, Wicklow, Carlow, and Offaly. So I'm going to go with any disagreements, lads, or are we ready to move on?
Move on.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to move on now to the Camogie. We have only one clash taking place in Division 1A. It was a game that was played on a different schedule to the games that were played last week. Galway host Waterford Saturday at 3 p.m. in Kilbecanty. Liam, I'll throw back to you for this one, seeing as you said that you like Galway. So an interesting clash between Galway and Waterford. Obviously, two teams that have been in the final in recent years. Galway, obviously the current All-Ireland champions. Waterford started their campaign with a great win over Cork. What are you expecting from this one?
Yeah, it's going to be a very tough game to call. Like you mentioned there, Waterford, they've started off reasonably well. Galway obviously had that tough defeat against Kilkenny on the opening day, albeit, look, it was the first game back after being All-Ireland champions. And as we've seen with many teams over the years, the first league campaign the year after winning All-Irelands is not the simplest game to get yourself up for. But I think Galway I think they should respond this weekend with a victory. Look, Waterford are a very good team. I do like a lot of their players, and I think they are going in the absolute right direction, especially with the way that they beat Cork on the opening day, and that unbelievable goal that was scored as well by Niamh Rocket, which is, I still don't know how she did that, to be honest with you. And I know Beth Carton will be in flying form, Abby Flynn as well. But I am going to give it to Galway to win this game. I just think they'll want to respond after, especially losing at home to Kilkenny. I think they'll want to give a response, to be honest with you. So I'm gonna shade this one to Galway, and I think Carrie Dolan will be at the centre point of that, as we've kind of come to expect over the last couple of years. And I think Niamh Nyland is going to be in for a good game as well.
Yeah, we're going to go for Galway there. Any disagreements, lads? Anyone going Waterford or a draw or anything?
I'm going Waterford, simply because I read the news a small bit, and the Galway panel were on holiday in America and they were snowed in.
I did see that, actually, yeah.
So I think their players will be tired. There is a thing called jet lag. I think the players will be tired going back back to Ireland, and I'd feel like Waterford, if there's any chance of them beating a team like Galway at their full tilt, I think it's this weekend, to be honest with you. I think Waterford will win this by about 5 points.
Okay. Jerry with a good point here. It says, for all the talk of integration, Galway have home advantage to Waterford in both hurling and camogie this weekend, and nobody thought of a double header. I mean, quite annoying, but anyway. Des here saying, is it time for Offaly to ditch Mickey Hart and bring in a current top manager and Anthony Cunningham? Otherwise, this Offaly golden generation will be completely wasted. I think it would be interesting if they brought in Gallagher or Cunningham. I don't know. I think they should persist with Mickey Hart personally. Liam, just a quick take. What do you think about that?
Yeah, look, I can't, just speaking from a personal opinion, I can't see Mickey Hart and Declan Kelly being in charge next year. I have a feeling that this probably will be their last year. Who we get in after that? Listen, I mean, Mickey Hart coming in was as much a surprise to me as it was to anybody else. So I don't know who Offaly are going to get in. Look, they could get in a manager who's won 3 All-Irelands like Mickey Hart, or they can get in someone who's never coached a team before. As long as they bring in a bit of a structure, and if they get a bit lucky with, say, not having the injuries like we've had this year, I think we should be okay. And like even Cormac Egan was saying it yesterday about player overloads as well. Like especially for someone like him who plays both codes, who can, go very far with Tullamore, say winning the Offaly Championship, going into the Leinster Championship, say he doesn't get a break. There's a lot of players that maybe don't get a break, especially in Offaly at the moment with playing both codes or whatever. But I think it's just about finding a balance with all that and not overloading the players as well with a tough schedule. But look, whoever we get in, I'll back either way. But I don't know who would bring in, but I have a feeling it probably will be Hart in Declan Kelly's final year.
Okay, very good. Well, now it's time for the last time on the show today to go into the quick picks time. And Aaron, I'll put you up first, seeing as Matthew and Liam have taken turns going first. Division 1B's round 3 of the Camogie League. We have Wexford hosting Dublin on Saturday at 1 p.m. in Bunclody, Limerick hosting Clare and Cappamore Saturday at 2 p.m. and Offaly hosting Down Saturday at 2 p.m. in St. Brendan's Park in Birr. What are you thinking?
Yeah, so I think for Dublin Wexford, I'll probably go with Wexford, to be honest with you. I think they have looked a little bit better than us, to be honest, just on current form with the defeat to Down and obviously the performance versus Clare as well. So I think we will go with Wexford there. In terms of Limerick versus Clare, I'll go with Limerick. Limerick have looked very strong so far. And in terms of Offaly versus Down, I'll go with Down to get the victory there and cause more pain and misery for Liam there. Sorry.
Liam, and a quick question for you, just in one word, with an eye on the clock.
Do you know what? I'll say outside.
Okay. And your thoughts for 1B? Do you agree with Aaron, or is there any game that you're going to disagree with?
I'm going to back the girls to win. I'm going to back them to win. Kind of probably more hope than anything, but I'm gonna back us to win this game. It's not going to be easy against Down, but I'm going to back us to win. And about piling the misery on this, and once we beat Chelsea Sunday, I'll be very happy.
I actually want that to happen too.
Yeah. I'm going to go Dublin, Clare and Down. Matthew?
Wexford, Limerick, Offaly.
Oh, wow. Completely different. Anyway, we'll move on to Division 2A. And I'll actually take this first, lads. Haven't put my neck on the line really at all. I dare put my neck on the line. Anyway, Meath against Laois, Saturday at 2 p.m. I'm going to go with Laois to win that. Kerry Carlow, I'm going to go with Kerry to win that. Westmeath Derry, I'm going to go with Westmeath to win that. Any disagreements?
No.
Okay, Division 3A then. There's 2 games here. Tyrone versus Roscommon, Saturday at 2 p.m. and Kildare versus Armagh, also Saturday at 2 p.m. I'm going to go with Tyrone and Armagh to win those. Any disagreements?
No.
And then final division is Division 3B's round 3. Mayo versus Donegal and Monaghan versus Louth, both on Saturday at 2 p.m. I'm going to go with Mayo and Louth to shade them. Any disagreements? No disagreements. So we're on the same page now. We have delusional time, and then we have well, I don't even know what's the word. Friendly time. Everybody's happy. Everybody's on the same page. Anyway, we are going to wrap it up there. Jer here saying are Clare playing Limerick in 3 codes this weekend. They are indeed. So the rivalry is well and truly alive. Peter here saying, lads, great preview and chat. Thanks a mil. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the matches and catch you Sunday evening at 8 p.m. You've nailed it there. Ryan here saying, thanks, lads. See you on Sunday. And yeah, to anybody that got involved during this live stream, it was another bumper episode, about an hour, 46 minutes. So please do like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. Tell your friends, if they're GA fans, to tune in to us on Sunday at 8 p.m. on Cúilín Media. I've enjoyed this one. We've a lot of games to look forward to this weekend, and hopefully Aaron, for her sake, Dubs can do the business against Roscommon. But anyway, we will see you all on Sunday at 8 p.m. But until then, enjoy the games. Agus tá.